Yo, what's going on? Art from Woodward Sports MMA. You can find us at woodwardsports.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you click the subscribe button, click the like button so you can keep up to date with new videos. We're also posting a bunch of different sports content on the YouTube page, so give us a like, subscribe, all that stuff. Kind of some breaking news. The UFC has decided to scrap the Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns fight. That was supposed to be happening at UFC 256, December 12th. What's interesting about this is that when it comes to the UFC booking fights towards the end of the year, they try and stack the cards as much as possible. They always do a big Super Bowl card. Obviously, with COVID, that might change. They do a big 4th of July card. They do a big International Fight Week card, which is in the middle of summer. And then they always do a big card towards the end of the year. Now, there isn't any announcement for any cards happening after December 12th. The UFC kind of, when it comes to scheduling, they kind of announce everything all at once. I don't see the possibility of us not having a huge end of the year card, but I think that with Dana White having to fulfill the contract with ESPN, and obviously with COVID happening, there's been fights every single weekend. Us MMA fans have been pretty blessed when it comes to that, and they've been, for the most part, pretty stacked cards. It's been nice to see the UFC kind of go to Fight Island to grab some of the international fighters that are closer to Yas Island or Abu Dhabi area to kind of relieve the American fighters that have been fighting so much at the UFC Apex. Now that leaves a big question. With Burns and Usman not fighting on December 12th, what spot could be filled? There's a whole bunch of different options, and I want to go over a couple of them right now, including Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling. Sterling is offered to fight on that card. Obviously, Sterling and Yan, no stranger to the beef there on Twitter and interacting on social media. That would be a good fight, and it would really test Peter Yan. Of course, him dismantling Jose Aldo was, again, another example of seeing a UFC fighter that you look as like one of the most dominant fighters in UFC history, obviously getting starched by Conor McGregor in 13 seconds. That was disappointing. And then seeing him fight Peter Yan and just Yan dominating him like he did with Uriah Faber, I think a true test for Peter Yan would be Aljamain Sterling. Sterling's on a roll. He's had a couple falls here and there, but I think that would be a good headliner for UFC 256. When I look at what is on the card right now for the announced bouts for UFC 256, December 12th, you're looking at Amanda Nunes and Megan Anderson. That's going to be a good fight, but let's be honest, I think we all know how that's going to go, sadly. I love Megan Anderson, but I don't think she has what it takes to beat Amanda Nunes. She's just, Amanda Nunes is the MMA GOAT. You know, and not only women's MMA GOAT. When you look at Khabib Nurmagomedov and Stipe and all of these people in discussion, and even Israel Adesanya, which we'll get to him in a minute, you have to put Amanda Nunes in the top 5 greatest of all time. I'm sick of the discussion of, oh, she's a woman, this and that. Those days are over. When Dana brought Ronda over to the UFC, that's when it was like, you got to start looking at the women's MMA division as just as much of a dominant division as the men's MMA division. So that is on the announced bouts for UFC 256, December 12th. Also on there, Carla Esparza versus Amanda Ribas. That's going to be a great fight. Of course, Ribas coming off of her win from Paige Van Zandt. She's the reason why Paige Van Zandt is like, I'm getting out of the UFC and going to Bare Knuckle Fight Club. So that's for another video too, as far as her making her debut in that organization. But you got to look at there's only 3 bouts so far for UFC 256. So, in my opinion, putting Amanda Nunes, you have to put her on the co-headline, unless you want her to headline the card, but then that's going to be the best of the best as far as what happens for UFC 256. I'm leaving out one entertaining, needs to happen bout, and it would completely blow MMA fans' brains out of the water, and that is John Jones versus Israel Adesanya. I mean, that is the fight to make. I know that Ariel Helwani reported it with Daniel Cormier on their show, DC on Helwani, and I have to 100% agree. When it comes to the fight that needs to happen the most, next to Khabib and Ferguson, which I think the world has a better chance of ending than that fight happening, you have to book Jones versus Adesanya. Obviously, I understand Jones is trying to move up to heavyweight. He wants Stipe. Dana White has made it clear that Francis Ngannou is going to fight Stipe next, so that kind of leaves Jones as to where he's going to fight or who he's going to fight when it comes to the heavyweight division. So why not meet in the middle, have John Jones fight at 205, has Israel Adesanya move up, and it's a bout that doesn't really affect anything. It doesn't affect the middleweight title for Israel Adesanya. He could still compete for that if he loses. It's kind of very similar to the Max Holloway situation when he moved to fight. John Jones, he's not a title holder anymore. That goes to John, the Polish warrior. So when you look at how that impacts multiple divisions, it really doesn't. And with the amount of trash talk that's happening on social media between John Jones and Israel Adesanya, getting family members involved, I mean, that's where you got to look at the trash talk. There's a certain level of trash talk, and then there's like, whoa, okay, these guys need to fight to figure it out. I think as far as undefeated streaks, you look at Israel Adesanya, he's 20-0 in his MMA career. He's like 106 in his professional fighting career. You look at John Jones, and I don't even look at the Matt Hamlin situation as a loss. Obviously, the elbow strike, but the man's been undefeated for so long that this fight needs to happen. So I think if the UFC was smart, booking UFC 256 December 12th. As far as I know, that it says right here that the location is to be determined. I don't think that they'll return to Fight Island, so it would be pretty convenient for Jones, who I believe still lives in Albuquerque, to go up to Vegas and fight. Obviously, Israel has no problem traveling. This would be the next fight to make. It has to happen. There has to be, the UFC has a history of saying, yeah, we want the fight to happen, but, money and stuff. No, throw all the money at both of these fighters. They both deserve it. John Jones is a legendary fighter. Outside of the ring antics or the octagon antics, you can't talk about that. When it comes to his fighting career, it's slowed down a little bit. When you look at his fight with Dominic Reyes, he didn't look as sharp as what he's looked at before. So you got to kind of question what would happen in the fight. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered, and that is the fight to make. Obviously, if breaking news happens and they do decide to book that, I mean, it's October 7th today. They got a couple months to prepare. It's the fight to make. December 12th, UFC 256, John Jones versus Israel Adesanya needs to happen. And like I said, if we end up getting the breaking news that it does happen, we'll update you. But like us on Facebook, like us on Twitter, all the social medias. Make sure that you subscribe. We've got a Facebook group as well, the MMA Fans Uncensored. Make sure that you go like that too to keep up to date with what's happening in the MMA world. My name is Art from Woodward Sports MMA. Thank you so much for watching. Like and share this video.